Productions. Welcome to my page.
Are you goal driven or money driven?
Everything isn't about money. You know, money can help you get things. You know, obviously it can and achieve things and attain things, but the really thing is about goals because for me at least, because if you're just trying to go after the money, then okay, you'll never have enough. But when it comes to goals, then okay, I'm looking to establish, for instance, a sustainable community. Well, okay, what does that look like and what does it take to do that? What is the monetary value of that? And once you get there, now you can build it.
Right, right. And that's comfortable for you, millionaire status, or having a couple of thousands. What is that for you? Is that enough, or do you need more? Or
Interestingly enough, so I have a series of t-shirts for Crypto Woke Finance Sustainability Movement series. This is one of them I'm wearing today. And it speaks about become a sustainer first before a millionaire. What I mean by that is that, some people, or I'll say most people, when you ask them, what is it that you need to have enough? And we can't really give you exact number. We'll just say, oh, give me $1 million, or give me $5 million, and I'll be good. But because we don't have a systemic plan on what we would use that 5 million or 1 million for, we'll probably burn through it. Definitely within our generation, if not within a year or two. So, for me, it's really about being sustainable and figuring out what that number is. What is it that makes me okay to exist? And any dollar more than I make, then I'm on the path to becoming wealthy or rich. So for me, and I use figure out that number through my course, Crypto Wealth Financial Sustainability Movement. In my courses, I teach one of the first things we talk about is I like to call it the financial endurance number.
right.
And when you deal with the financial endurance number, you figure out what is that number that you have coming out of your pocket every month. That's all of your expenses, including living, leisure, doctor bills, whatever it is, car notes, loans. When you figure out what that number is, it's consistently a roundabout number throughout the year. And when you multiply that by 12, then that's your financial endurance number, or the amount of money you need to create to cover all of your expenses.
Let me just ask you this, only because I know you're on a roll, and when you get on the roll, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to learn. And first, we got to start off with who you are, your name. I don't want to jack up your name, so I want you to introduce yourself to Now PR Magazine readers. I want to welcome you to the show. We've done this before, but we had a little turbulence. We're going to get this right. So just say your name. What does your name mean? Break it down for us.
Yes. Give thanks for the opportunity, absolutely, to network with you and your people and whatnot. My name is Ishangi, out of Brooklyn, New York. My name is actually a name that came to me in a dream, so to speak. I didn't even know it was a name. I wasn't looking for a name, but if you're familiar with KRS-One, his name's an acronym, and it means knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everyone. So I knew that, but in 2000, this name in Boybe, I woke up saying this name and didn't think much of it other than the message also being, don't forget this word. At the time, it wasn't even said it was a name. And 3 years later, I'm in Harborview, Jamaica with a couple friends, and I'm reading KRS-One's book called Ruminations. And in his book, he wrote out the meaning of his name. And I knew it, but once I read it, my name came to me.
Wow.
Which means if I keep my mind and my body working equally, blessings will continue to come. So it kind of just, it happened. It was that divine time moment. I wasn't in search of a name. I've always been in search of improving myself. But when this thing came, I knew it was a daily affirmation. Keep my mind and body working equally, and my balance and the spiritual as well. And then the blessings will always continue to come. So it's a daily affirmation.
That is amazing. I love that. And the way you explained it, that's the best way that anybody can ever understand. Because to be honest with you, and thank you for meeting again, because we tried this before. I really appreciate it. You have a really tight schedule. And with all that is happening, you still find the time to build and create. So I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Explain to me what the renewable coal flashlight is about. I've been seeing that around, and I don't mean to get off subject, but I need to find out what that is. Amazing product.
So one thing I teach with financial literacy is that the goal is to free yourself. And when you learn to maintain your finances, then you can fire your boss, and then you can live the life that you've been, you own your time, so you can do the things that interest you. So I was fired from my job in 2017, working at the National Basketball Association, and began this journey of financial literacy. And one of the things I started to learn over the process is, if you own your time, then what are some of the things that you really want to do in life? And I've always, if you'd asked me this 5 years ago, I never would have told you that I was a co-partner of a renewable energy company. But as things evolved, and I started to learn about addressing the basic needs that we have. And the main things that we use are energy. We use a lot of energy, and we don't have the capacity, understanding how to control it. Now we're in the solar age, and folks are starting to get solar powered panels on their homes, and energy companies are trying to get you to get off, to connect to their grid, and any excess energy you make, give it to them, opposed to keeping it for yourself. But there's opportunity here, and we're using natural energy, the sunlight, and so for me, it just the path that I've been walking, it just seemed organic, that I was able to link with a couple of friends of mine, and we decided to create a renewable energy company, and it's called Citrix Renewables. If you're interested, go to citrixrenewables.com, and we just started releasing some of our products, and these are basic products that we think people can use every day in their lives, things that we take for granted. So our first product is a solar flashlight. I'll just show you an example here. Yeah. This is our logo. And this is a multi-layered flashlight, because you'll see that it also has solar panels. So this is what's going to power it, because most folks, when they have flashlights in their homes, they won't use it until they actually need it. And it's not too often. And if it's a thunderstorm or power outage, you go to get your flashlight, but because the battery's been sitting there for so long, for 6-7 months, it may not work, or work long enough. Yeah. So this product, actually, again, multi-layered, is that it's powered by solar. You can see the panels here. It actually has some other things that you can use. It's USB rechargeable. So it has a USB charger right here. So you could charge, say, for instance, you're out camping, or you go out for a walk and your phone is dying. You can plug your phone into this flashlight, because the panels will charge both the flashlight and the phone.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah.
Yes. It also has a compass. It also has a security alert for if someone's stalking you. You can. It's much louder when you take the cap off. And it, again, is a flashlight, so you can basically at night use it to navigate, get to where you need to go. But it also has these hazard lights here.
Okay, and that's what we need. You know what? I really want you to explain. And you mentioned earlier that you're spiritual.
Yes.
And how did you arrive here? Is there anything that changed your direction in your life that brought you to this place, like today? I'm interested. I really want to know.
Yeah, I've always been a lover of history. I went to college. My degree is in history, so I've always loved African history specifically, and studying timelines. One of our greatest historians, Asa Ilyich, also always said that if you want to study history, you must do it in chronological order. Okay. So for me, looking at the history of our species, of time itself, studying history, and how we get enamored in how great we were. We call ourselves kings and queens of Africa, right? But the reality is not everybody was a king or queen, because there wasn't enough kingdoms, right? There got to be some people that served. But we still had a nice community of people that we took care of things, and we worked together. And then colonialism happened, and we could see how colonialism has reshaped the earth to be what it is in regards to race and gender and all these type of things. So I've always been interested in that. But for me, the turning point for me was March 13, 2017. As I mentioned earlier, I used to work for the National Basketball Association, and I was fired from my job because of what I post on social media. Not anything job related, but because I posted about African history and reclamation of it. They saw it as, a counter to their brand, which, of course, 80% African American League, they don't want them to get access to this information about us.
Right. That's right.
Yes. So I was kicked off the corporate plantation, and I had to make a decision. Did I want to find another corporate plantation to get eventually kicked off of? Or did I want to understand everything we're doing is about money? So I think that's where the ancestors kicked in, was like, you know what? What is your purpose? What is your true divine purpose? And you'll only figure that out if you own your time.
That's right.
I started getting into financial literacy, learning about finances, how they work. I was, we're in the information age. There's more information available today than ever. So I
Yeah.
realized that, if I can understand how to manage my funds, then I can fire my boss or no longer have to go to a corporate plantation and learn how to make money, earn money instead of me working for it. So
And
that led me.
that's a good point, because there's a common disbelief about what people don't want to see. They don't what to expect. You don't know what to expect. So they don't want to see what's already there. And if you're passionate enough and step out on faith like what you did, you'll be able to conquer what they tried to prevent you from doing in the first place. So I myself did the same thing, and it was very scary. So
Mm-hmm.
the biggest tool that you always carried with you, I need to know, what is the biggest tool that you always carried with you, even after that situation? What did you use? How did you project yourself to the world?
I think the biggest tool I would say is the confidence in knowing that instead of getting caught up into the rat race psychosis of, okay, we're so caught up in the future trying to make money to be here for the future. Sometimes be in the present. When you're in the present, then you can have that future. And I think the best analogy I've used has helped me is the ant and the grasshopper old story.
Remember
And
that story?
yeah, and I had to ask myself, what am I in regards to my retirement and my survival? Am I the grasshopper or am I the ant? And I
Okay.
realized that they teach us to be grasshoppers, to wait, to do a little bit, have little interest, or to accept what they give you and not do for yourself. Whereas the ant goes out and creates its own sovereignty, it creates its own protection.
Correct.
And that's what I keep with myself is to say, I keep telling myself, be the ant, be progressive, be planning, be putting into place and executing those plans. So I would say that's been my biggest
Yeah,
reference.
because that's amazing how you made a decision to do what you had to do, and the language that you chose to use to your younger self.
Yeah,
Now that you're a man,
yeah.
what would you go back to tell him? What would you say?
Well, that's the thing is that, we don't have time to think about those things because as from youth, we're told, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, I want to be this. Okay, well, you got to get this to be that. You got to
That's,
get this degree. You got to get a hottest, you got to be educated. And
yeah.
so get caught
Yeah.
up into the certifications and validations. And
Mhm.
then once we get those validations, we're in an era now where the jobs aren't going to compensate for all that degrees you have, right? They're not going to give you those six
Yeah.
figures. You're gonna end up having to get a second job. You may even be a barista at Starbucks to
Just
pay off that college loan.
it off. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
they
the
teach us about
perception we have. Hmm.
yeah, they teach us for about attaining higher certifications, but not how you can pay for it. So
How
that's
to,
why we're in our
oh,
40s, 50s, still
mhm.
paying off college loans because we were never taught how to manage money. So
Tell me
I
about
would
it.
yeah. So I would tell my younger self to think about, first of all, managing, understanding how money works, and then understanding that no job, no employer is obligated to pay you for the rest of your life.
Okay.
Eventually, and the older you get, you will reach a level of tenure or a ceiling where you will never go any higher than that, and your tenure doesn't exist anymore. Our grandparents and great grandparents
I
kept their
think.
jobs for 25 plus years. That's no longer reality.
Hmm.
So, how are we going to be able to create income to take care of ourselves if our jobs, the average American changes jobs every 4.2 years?
Oh man. Wow.
Okay. So, if you're coming out of college at 20 years old and you're trying to work till you're 65, you're going to have an average of over 10 jobs over that tenure.
That's
And
right.
it's hard
Never
to
think about
create
that.
yeah, and it's hard to create, and that's the other sector is that there are 3.5 million college graduates every year and 5 million high school graduates every year. So that's 8.5 million new students that are trying to get, or new people that are trying to get into the work field. And there's only on a good year, 2 million jobs created.
Mm.
So if you got 8.5 million new people trying to jump into a pool of 2 million jobs on a good year again, in addition to the fact that within that space already, there's people that's already been working trying to find new work.
Yeah,
So it's slim pickings,
it
and so
is.
we need to realize
Really is.
that if we learn how to make money work for us, then
Hmm.
we're dependent. If you allow a man to feed you, you're going to allow him to starve you as well. So that's what we need to change that mentality of how can I become that ant, create my own situation, my own sustainability, and
Hmm.
then not be so dependent on, the rat race psychosis of, fearing I'm gonna lose my job because it's a Friday or a Monday or the holiday coming.
Main problem. That is the main problem. The fear of losing your job. And the biggest problem that you've solved for last year and this upcoming year, what do you think that would be?
That I purse for myself.
Problem that we need to, there's a problem.
Yes.
And this problem needs to be fixed.
Yes.
So with you doing what you're doing, how are you solving this thing? And what does your whiteboard look like?
Yeah. The main thing for me is relinquishing dependency and becoming independent. That first starts in the mind. And the number one thing that we all aspire or hustle to get every day is that dollar. So again, my game plan is how do I employ the money instead of me going out working for it?
Okay.
If you understand those principles, and I'm not saying, okay, some folks want to put in the stock market, 401ks, and that's fine if you want to do that. But you need to do a comparative analysis of other opportunities out there because these things don't give you the yield that we're told it's going to give us. If you're 30 and you're start investing in your 401k, your broker is not going to tell you, check your account every week. They're like, don't worry about it. Check it in 10, 20 years. Okay. Well, in 10, 20 years, if you're in your 50s and you're less than a decade left in working, and allegedly that 65-year-old is retirement is approaching. If you don't have a plan in place, then you're going to be indebted to working for the rest of your life over 65. So I would say the biggest thing is understanding the other options that are available, the non-traditional options.
That doesn't sound good at all. I mean, what's motivating you? What's motivating you right now?
The fact that I don't have much time left as far as being employed or I want to be, I'm 51 and I'm looking at trying to spend my remaining, as my cousin would say.
Oh my goodness, not look 51.
Give thanks. We got to eat right and sleep and all that kind of stuff.
That's right.
My cousin would tell me that we got about 20, 25 good summers left. And not that you're going to die, but the youth in you to be able to create that pool of retirement, those golden years. The time is close. I have less time ahead of me than I do behind. So my focus is how do I now use these remaining years to employ the money and get in a position where I can live off of it and not putting it into those traditional savings accounts and money methodology. The stock market gives you 1.8% return. That's the highest you're going to get on average. Bank accounts are going to give you, your savings accounts going to maybe give you 1%. So these things don't work.
That's crazy to me. It's really crazy. You had 10 times the budget that you have now. That's the question that everybody should answer. What would you spend it on? Like, how would you get rid of it in a sense?
As far as what I would invest in or?
What would you invest in?
The thing for me, the thing for me that I think is, something that we used to do and we need to get back to, our grandparents did, is investing in something that is tangible, something that is physical. Yeah, we're talking about cryptocurrency and NFTs and blockchain technology, all these virtual opportunities, which is great. It can give you a return. But if the power grid goes out, so does that currency. So for me, it's something tangible. Something more tangible to me is land. When you invest in land, then you're able to do several things off of it. A lot of us have land already and we're not monetizing it. Some of us are thinking, I got this huge backyard. I don't know what to do with it. Well, that could be a garden. And maybe you don't want to tear up the soil, but they have other types of ways they have vertical gardening. They have hydroponics. They have, growing bags you can use. So you don't have to dig up the land. You can just grow it within the pot itself. Once you put food on the land, then you can sustain yourself. I can eat off of this. So in case the grocery store is shut down, I got food for my family. And then you look into, monetizing the land. You can either sell the product. Some people create community gardens. Some people will use their roofs and put, the gardens on top of their roofs. You can Airbnb the property if you want to. You can rent it out. There's so many ways you can monetize that land, opposed to just living there, but using it as a way to create an income and create some sustainability.
And that's important to me, especially with children. We all have children. I know you have a son.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So you did mention that before, and it's sad when we sit and think about the possibilities of what could happen. When when they get older and we're gone. And, you know, the concern is for the next 5 to 10 years, you don't know what to expect, you know. So what is your concern right now?
That is the biggest concern is, you know, we're entering in the age of artificial intelligence is about to go full throttle. So once automated workers or robots are put in place, we're looking at the complete decimation of the middle class. So it's going to be have and the have-nots.
That's right.
It's not immigrants that are stealing the jobs. It's automation. And so in addition to that, you know, I'm doing a study right now where there's also in connection with all this will to try to pull people away from reality. If you know anything about AR, VR, augmented reality and artificial intelligence and virtual reality, you know, Zuckerberg and Oculus and all this stuff that they're purchasing, trying to get people to be in this made up world of the metaverse. You know, that's a whole new conversation that we're not even conversing yet about, but we are at the bullseye and it's crosshairs of trying to get us caught up into this virtual life that I worry about, because there's going to be a lot of people caught up into this space. Not only talking about, you know,
it's already happened or happening. You know, I mean, fundamentally, it's changed before COVID for you. I mean, even all of the things that we just spoke about, what has changed for you since this all started?
You know, the understanding that there's a lot, all the movies I saw 10, 20 years ago are real. That's the biggest fear, is that, you know, just like other movies, they're prophecies. And, you know, folks are trying to bring these things into real time. And this is why also owning your time is important, because I'm not just going to sit here and let this happen. If you own your time, you can also work on creating opposition or counters. That's the one thing that rich people can do. When they don't have nothing else to do, they plan the future. So and because we're caught up in the 9 to 5, we're too busy in the present day. We don't have time to think about the future. Well, if we free our time up, then we can create those think tanks, those opportunities to invest in it ourselves, not needing a bank loan or a crowdfunding to do it. But you are able to create your own future to counter some of these things, or at least lessen the blow. So that's my focus, why I talk about the importance of financial literacy and being sustainable first, and that puts you on the path of being that million and billionaire. Is once you own your time, not only can you create the things you were born to do or get involved in things you're born to do, but you can also create some sort of counter to the things that are being fed to us. We don't have to eat what they're creating for us, and we have to understand that, especially for our children.
And can you tell us, you're talking about other things right now, but we got to hear about these books that you wrote. What is the names of those books? I need to get those books out there to the readers.
Okay. Yeah, I keep these with me close. My latest book is it's a Pot to Piss In, Intergenerational Wealth Planning for Black People. And this is my 5th book. I'm working on my 6th book now, but this is my 5th book that's dealing solely with finances, something I never would have thought I'd write about. But I've always been a lover of trying to disseminate information to our people, because we're the most deserving, yet least have the least access to it. But if you look at the history of before water, we had underwater sewage and pipes and things of that nature, running water in the house. People relieved themselves in a pot and they threw it out the window. Well, you know, us being, you know, unfortunately chattel slavery up until 1865, we didn't even own a pot. Ways that rich white families, have been able to create intergenerational wealth for over 200 years and pass it down their bloodline 70 years into the future. So that's what this book is about. And my 4th book is the Boule, Who is the Boule? And again, I focus on the era of the 1865, when we were emancipated, to the 1900s. That period was monumental in the development of the African American you see today. If you look at the early 1900s, we see the formation of some of our oldest organizations: the NAACP, Urban League. You know, Prince Hall Masons were here in the 1700s, but they really blew up around that time. You know, churches, fraternities and sororities, and other sort of secret societies, or societies that hold secrets. What I found in my research, also being in a fraternity in college, is that these organizations have pointed us towards being more white-like than our African selves. They have been purposely designed to make us stay away from the ranks of a Marcus Garvey or John Henry Clark or Dr. Ben, that teaches about self reclamation through your history, knowing who you are, understanding your story, and then charting your own path without colonialism being involved. So this book talks about those historic organizations and the things they've done, being involved in the Tuskegee experiment, black organizations having, white symbols on their organizations. Like, it's a lot of stuff that's going on that we need to understand about the origin and why our liberation has been delayed. Why are we still in the 2021? The verdict came out today, and it's a shock, that the judicial system does not favor us. Well, why is that so? Why is it still in 2021? It's because we have bought into this integration type system that keeps us on the bottom of the melting pot.
Okay. Yeah, and I have to say that you have been able to bring all of these things to the forefront in your books, and that is very challenging for a lot of people. They either don't want to talk about it or they're afraid, like you said, which you kind of had a backlash, and you were able to turn it around. And that's important to me, that we are able to do that and still walk with our heads up, So I want to thank you for coming today or coming back, on the show. I appreciate you very, very much. And I would like for you to tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
Okay. Thank you again. Thank you again for the opportunity. And anytime there's an opening, let me know. I'll be happy to be here. You can reach me. No doubt. My websites are cryptowokemovement.com. That's cryptowokemovement.com. That's for finances and learning how to live off your savings and investments. And then my other site is the Ghetto Times. That's DAGHETTOTYMZ. And that's where I talk about the cultural resurrection, of our history through knowledge of ourselves and our timeline of how illustrious we are and how we can bring it to present day. Social media, you can catch me at Crypto Woke. You can catch me at Mbwebe Ishangi on IG, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc.